This video is going to sound a bit controversial, but nevertheless, the truth has got to be said. So now there is what is called the rise of what we call the mental struggle or mental manipulation. Now back in the day, we had what we call physical dominance. Now, as the world has been evolving, now back in the early days, you needed to be physically strong. You need to be physically dominant for you to attain power or for you to ascend into power. Even when men used to go and hunt to fend for their families, those men who seemed to be strong physically were the ones who were able to get mates easily and were the ones who became leaders because they seemed as if they could protect others because of their physical strength. But times have changed. But the same tactics that were being used are now being used, but in a different kind of way. So we have moved into an era whereby instead of the physical dominance that was applied, we now rely on what we call mental faculties. And the person who has the strong mental ability than the others are the ones who actually end up becoming powerful or ascending into power, right? And this has brought rise into what I call religious indoctrination or religious groups that actually indoctrinate people. So for the better part, most people have now been trained, have now been told that in order for them to actually see God or to be in communion with God, they have got to be affiliated with a specific religious group. Maybe it could be Islam, maybe it could be Christianity, whatever and whatever. So all these groups claim to have the infinite truth. They claim that their God is the true God and the other's God is a weak God or is not the true God. And the reason for this is because they have proof from their own scriptures text that shows that their God is the real God. But the real truth about all this is that they are all part of the same thing. It is just spirituality that has created what we call denominations or parts of it. But essentially, it is all spirituality. But the real thing is this: religion is actually creating a middleman between you and God and depriving you of the actual fundamental truth, that is, God is always within and God has never been externally to you. And anyone, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your upbringing, regardless of your nationality, we all have the same power to access of God. But we first need to understand what actually God is. So in simpler terms, we can simply say that God is the source energy of everything and all creation. So if God is the source of everything and all creation, we could say that all creation stems from God. And in even more further detail, we could say that the created is a portion of the creator. So we are all parts of the same energy of God, simply having experiences differently. This could mean that all of us are interconnected because the same soul and spirit I have, you also have a soul and a spirit. And my spirit is intertwined with the spirit of God because God is a spirit. God is not a man. God is not a woman. You cannot give God personified human characteristics. You can never say that God can get jealous because God is not a human being. God is way above a human being. God is a higher dimensional kind of spirit, right? So everyone has access to that. But religion, through the using of mental knowledge, tries to convey that this God is good and this God is not the real God. But the real thing is, all these people in religious sects understand how the mind works. And this is simply how the mind works. It is not that Allah is the real God or Lord is the real God. What really implies here, your belief is what creates or destroys God. So for one person, they might believe firmly that Lord is the God and they might pray and get healed. Another might also believe that Allah is God and they will also pray. They will also receive what is called healing. But the real thing is, it is not Allah or God doing this. It is the substance of their own faith. And that faith is what you need to exercise and understand that God is always within. So you need not to need an external person to take out your money so that they can pray to you to receive healing. God is within you. And the moment you start journeying within and do away with the external world, then you are now going back to your oneness with God. Because at the beginning, we were all one with God. And the real purpose of all this life experience is for us to go to where we came from. It is for us to realize that we came from God, and that is whence we shall return.